that's the problem. When you got corny, stale chips, what do you do with them? You throw them the fuck out. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the most ghettoest podcast in America. It's Giving, hosted by your boy Brandon the Introvert. In this episode, you guessed it, we will be talking about The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 7. Shit, before I begin though, make sure you hit that subscribe button, blah, 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 notifications when I upload the videos, blah, 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 all the shit that the YouTubers be saying, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, with this video, I didn't even plan on making this video till literally yesterday. It was similar to the Megan video where I really didn't even plan on talking about Megan, but I felt like I had to because I know she is going to be in the horror zeitgeist for a while. So it was one of those things where I felt like I had to. So it's in the similar vein of this. Like, I love Potomac. I love Real Housewives of Potomac mainly for a lot of different reasons. One of the main reasons because I feel connected to it because I'm not from Potomac, but I'm from Maryland, and Potomac's literally 30 minutes away. Even though most of the women don't live in Potomac or even from Potomac. That's neither here or there. That's still the title of the show. They're all from the DMV regardless. So I have a special place in my heart. It's actually the first Real Housewives show that I actually started to watch. Mainly Potomac and Atlanta. The other ones, maybe I watched Beverly Hills, maybe I watched Salt Lake City, but I don't think I have the propensity to watch white women fight and shit and bicker, and I just don't. But Potomac. I'm excited to review this season, and I have a lot of thoughts. Some thoughts that might make me seem like I'm just ranting most of the time, but I promise you it's because I care for the show and I see the potential in the show. Today is Valentine's Day. This is why I have my purple. I was gonna wear a pink do-rag, but this is another year, this is what the fifth year or so that I'm single for Valentine's Day. It's all good. It's all good. I my own love. It would be nice to have somebody, spreading my legs for or spreading something for, and it maybe that it will happen next year, maybe it happen the year after that. So far, so good in terms of being by myself. So maybe I'll just drink myself in a wine stupor and watch Seinfeld or some shit. But anyway, happy Valentine's Day to fuck y'all. So in this season 7, we have the same set of housewives from season 6. We have the Grand Dame, Karen Huger. We have Gizelle Bryant, the Green Eye Band is Gizelle Bryant and Robyn Dixon. We have Messy Forehead, Ashley Darby. We have Wendy Osefo. We have Candiace Dillard Bassett. We have Mia Thornton compared to the rest of them, the newest housewife. So we have the same housewives. In this season, we see Sharice Jackson Jordan. She is in as a friend of the housewives this season. She hasn't made an appearance in Potomac since season 3. And then we have a newcomer, Jacqueline Blake, who is Mia Thornton's childhood friend. They've known each other apparently since they were 15. And so they're friends of the housewives in this season. So I should have known what this season had to bring from the very mediocre taglines. No, you can make an argument for that, but I was really excited for this season. Like, the promo with them in all red was really fire, no pun intended. Preseason trailer was really funny. Like, I was waiting and waiting and waiting. Like, I was waiting for this season, so I was really excited. I had a lot of high hopes for this season. But as I kept watching, I think at first my excitement was like, okay, wow, there's a lot going on in this season. Like, and there was a lot going on. Like, oh, like they said in interviews, like, we're on to one thing, and now we're on to the next thing, and now we're on to the next thing, and now we're on to, so I was trying to keep up with that. But then I feel like by midway, a little more than midway, I was just like, and especially after listening to Carlos King and his podcast and his YouTube channel and just him breaking things down, like, I've came to realize they really didn't have storylines this season. Like, they had them, but they didn't. They brought him back, but then they didn't. Let me go down the list. Let's start with Gizelle Bryant. So as Carlos King says, like, and if y'all don't know who Carlos King is, like, he's basically one of the reality producers, and pretty much from what I've seen, one of the first Black reality producers, like major producers. And he's also building his own kingdom. He literally calls himself like the king of reality TV. He has Love and Marriage DC, Love and Marriage Huntsville, The Bell Collective, a new show that I mentioned in the last video, Grown in Gospel. He executive produced Real Housewives of Atlanta. One of the seasons was the highest rated season of a Bravo series in Bravo history. So his impact is huge and he knows what he's talking about. So I often go to him for a lot of like takes and breakdowns on reality shows, and Potomac being one of them. So he calls Gizelle the force multiplier, which basically means like she knows how to add the entertainment, the drama, the action in a show. And she's low key, high key, the ghost producer of the show. She kind of initiates storylines, controls storylines, probably coaches people, what have you. In terms of her story, like, it's really about to give me not a I'm not going to be dramatic, but I think it's going to take a lot of breath out of me just even going down the list of these storylines this season. Gizelle, she once again is making shit up about people's husbands, and I'm a Monique stan. I love the Grand Dame, but I'm a Monique stan first and foremost. And the fact in season 5 at the reunion, Monique revealed that Gizelle tried to incite a plot that basically suggested that her third child was not her child. Well, it's not Chris's child, her husband Chris's child. She had it with somebody else. She was trying to incite something that involved a child. I didn't like Gizelle before, but after that, I was completely turned off. I was completely turned off. And I didn't like the fact that after the Monique and Candiace fight, this is not how we conduct ourselves. I no longer want to associate with you. Like she didn't fuck with Monique from the beginning. She didn't like Monique from the beginning. So I was just, that's all she needed and then some to like really take Monique's image and try to drag it across the ground. So she really took that and carried with it. So I already wasn't fucking with Gizelle going into it, but the fact that she's still making shit up about people's husbands, like, and don't get me wrong, okay, say you were uncomfortable, like even Robyn, her best friend, was like, I just personally feel like this is a little, I'm not sure about this one. I feel like Gizelle told Ashley to somehow get some eyes on Chris as well. I feel like Ashley possibly plotted with her friend Deborah, the Muppet, to say she felt uncomfortable with Chris. Like, just how things went down was just very much like, where the hell did this friend come from? We see footage. Chris obviously didn't look at white Chris. Candiace's husband Chris didn't look at the Muppet the entire time. Like Gizelle, it was a level like, okay, if you felt uncomfortable, okay. But the way Deborah was saying shit, it was very much like bullshit. Like, it was very much bullshit. And even like as the episode aired, you could tell like she was living off of the clout, like doing a whole Sesame Street skit. Like, if, and not to really tell you how you should feel if you're uncomfortable, but I would assume, and just to keep it real personally, like I've been in several situations where I suffer from sexual abuse and sexual assault. Coming from my experiences, I wouldn't do a whole damn Sesame Street skit. I wouldn't make light of my own situation in front of millions and millions of people. You literally belittled everyone who actually felt uncomfortable, went through some sexual assault, like, in my bag, y'all, trigger warning, but went through these situations and like trivialized it for clout. And I feel like Gizelle, she just seemed to have dragged a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if she told Ashley to get her little friend to do something, because we're going to get to Ashley too right after Gizelle. But Ashley ain't had no real storyline either. So for me, I'm done with Gizelle. I think because she's an OG, because she's one of the faces of Potomac, she will be more protected than other ones in terms of like staying on the show. I don't know the exact process of like how to get fired, how one gets removed from the show, but I'm fucking done with her. Like, I'm done with Gizelle Bryant, and I wish her a swift removal from the show, a impending removal from the show. Like we don't need her. She's corny. Her fashions are corny. We see that she is committed to doing any and everything to stay afloat and stay relevant on the show. All her storylines, like besides that go hair would go, not Portia's thing, but every beauty, every hue. Yeah. Besides that, and the little podcast, look, my podcast. But besides that, it's always about some random man that she brings around, and then has this whole weird thing where she talks about her dating life with her children, and that's all that her storyline has ever been. The only redeeming quality, not even redeeming, the only positive quality, because redeeming is like you're redeemed. The only positive quality she has is she seems like she's a good mother to her children. Outside of that, and she was, a cool villain, not cool, but she was like a entertaining villain, like seasons 1 through 4, seasons 5 and onward. I was just completely done. I was completely done because she just kept the her attacking Karen was one thing, because they already had like kind of a friendship before, and just like a frenemy ship before. But then she just she went for Monique. She's coming after Candiace, and she not fucking with Wendy. Tried to do that shit about Eddie last season. So it's just like she's coming for everybody's marriages and husbands, and is giving very vile. So I'm fucking done with Gizelle. Ashley, I personally enjoy Ashley because she's messy. She's fun. She brings like a fun, bubbly energy. But once again, she gets a pass last season because she was pregnant, but I think she was pregnant season 5 too. But overall, she gave nothing this season. The divorce of Michael should have been a very juicy topic to talk about. Juicy in the sense of bearing much fruit, bearing a lot of fruit for her storyline. And she gave us nothing. And she didn't even mention her divorce pretty much. Outside of that, fake me out, going to her uncle. We saw him like one time talk about it, maybe once or twice, and that was it. Everything else, like anytime a divorce, she talks about the divorce, it's somebody outwardly asking her, so what about the divorce? Like the fact that castmates are like, what about the divorce? And I feel like they weren't even trying to be messy. It's just like Ashley wasn't talking about it at all. So it's like, what is going on? We didn't see Michael at all. The information isn't adding up. The information isn't consistent. You're getting a house with Michael. You're getting a business with Michael. What is going what is going on? Like what is going on? So her whole divorce storyline. I mean, I do believe she actually got divorced, but it just seems like she was purposely leaving out many details. And I know Michael, after they were through, I know Michael, being the crafty little white businessman he is, I know he had certain things sealed up. Probably told her she can't say no shit. Lawyers were gonna involve. So I know Michael had to have an influence and impact on her ability to be as clear as possible with how the divorce was going down. So her storyline literally fizzled after a couple episodes. Like I forgot about the divorce at a certain point, because it was just like Ashley was just there, and besides that, all she had going on was the Deborah shit, and that was like it was giving very contrived. So yeah, I mean, she was doing her usual Ashley messiness, putting herself in other people's like lives and telling other people's mess. But outside of that, like, she can get the boot too. I like you, Ashley. Like, I feel like next season, season 8, apparently they're going to start filming in March. Season 8, I want to see Ashley as independent Ashley. Ashley before the Darby. Ashley to the person she wants to be. I know she's into health, she's into fitness, she's into TikTok. I think she has a very bubbly personality as well. Like I said, like I want to see Ashley grow and evolve outside of Michael. I want to see her grow as a person, as a mother. I want to see her dating. I know she was dating Luke from Winter House, and that might have been real, but I feel like it was like not that real. So I feel like if Ashley doesn't give us that real, then she can get the fucking boot too. I like you, Ashley, but and also the fact that she's been a mini Giselle for a while now, and it's giving she's like an affiliate of the Green Eyed Bandits, and she's their little puppet, their little plaything, and I'm tired. It's so two down, five more to go. Let's see how I feel about the rest. Candiace Dillard Bassett. I did not like her for a combination of reasons. Not from this season. I actually am starting to enjoy Candiace. Season 5 with Monique. I really hated that they fell out in that way. I enjoyed and I love the friendship between her and Monique, but I feel like Candiace talked a lot of cash money shit but couldn't back it up with, and I'm not a fighter, but if I'm gonna sit here and talk about somebody's mom or tell somebody to drag me, I best be prepared to get my lick back. Like I better be prepared to fight, to square up, as the kids say. So, and Candiace did that often. She did that with Monique. She did that with Mia, and then she just will go cry about it after the big explosion. So it was given she was just very insecure and just seemed like an adult child. But season 7, it's almost as if she kind of like arrived in a bit, like she's settling into herself. She's more secure in herself. And I'm enjoying seeing this evolution. And I always believe people change. That's why I don't perpetually dislike anyone. I don't perpetually like many people, because people change, So I feel like Candiace definitely showed a lot of evolution, and this was definitely her season. She had storyline. It was interesting with the IVF, her trying to get pregnant while going on this budding music career, then her getting her MBA from Howard to give her some leverage with, business negotiations with her music career and whatnot. Her and her marriage with Chris. Like, I feel like Candiace has been like, I don't feel like she's been giving us bullshit. And I will say one thing about Candiace, I don't think she's ever given us bullshit. I think she's always given herself. I don't feel like she's been faking the funk. You could say a lot of things about Candiace, especially from the seasons where she, started to like 5 and 6, but you can't say she's been giving you fake. You can't say that. Keep Candiace. She got a song out with Trina. That was cool. She's bringing clout to the show. She's bringing quality to the show and levity to the show and interesting content, interesting shit to the show. Her mom is even funny as hell. And I don't mind Chris. I don't mind. I think he sometimes get a little too white man angry, like he be having some white man anger to him. But I feel like through the quarantine, before that, I feel like they've always been honest about their relationship, about where they are in their relationship, and love their wedding. Chris, obviously he seemed to be going through a depression, or he was just feeling low during the quarantine. Like, I just feel like they both of them have always been real and always been authentic. So they need to keep Candiace. She doesn't need to be going anywhere from the show. She needs to stay. But she is starting to arrive. She is starting to elevate. And that's what she's supposed to do. She's using the platform for her own good, and that's what you're supposed to do. So yeah. I also loved her fourth wall moment. That was a very like, is this happening right now? Like, she's like, and don't break my fourth wall. That was good. That was good. She's like, we're not doing this. We're not doing a plot about my husband. Is this what we're about to do this season? Like, she's real. She's real. She's real. And you can't say she's not. You can't. So that's why I'm very fair. I'm very, very, very fair. And you'll see through my other talks with the other housewives, like, you'll see I'm very fair. Everything that I'm saying, like, even though I, might favor Monique, I might love the Grand Dame, but you're going to see that I'm very fair in how I'm breaking down their performance in this season and just what they were giving, what they did. Like, you're going to see I'm very fair. And that's how I am with everything that I break down. That's how I am with everything. Next, we have the lesser of the Green-Eyed Bandits, Robert Dixon. Her behavior was also very disgusting. From how she treated Wendy, didn't invite her kids to that ghetto ass, trifling ass play date where the styrofoam plates was kicking up everywhere. She didn't have any activities planned out. It was just one table. Did she even have food? Did she even have Gatorades out? Like, what was going on? Like, what was going on, Robyn? And why? And that's another thing I don't like about Robyn. Like, you and Wendy were actually pretty cool, especially when Wendy came on. Like, y'all both have two boys. Like, I feel like Wendy's personality is kind of a little bit in the same wavelength of Robyn. Like, I don't feel like Wendy is too high maintenance. Like, I feel like she's a very dynamic person. I feel like if Robyn, she's dynamic in the sense that, like, we saw her get her hustle on to stay afloat and stuff. And she has a lot of different interests and whatnot, that hat shit, flipping houses, the event planning. Like, she does a lot of different things. So we saw they kind of had a baseline with that. But just because Wendy, I think she made some type of insinuation with Juan, she said something about their marriage or whatever. And Robyn was still salty about that. In the next year, you're still salty about that. Like, you don't have to be lovey-dovey with her again, but she was just giving Wendy the complete icy boot this whole entire season because she was being petty as hell. I feel like this season could have been hers along with Candiace had she had just been real. She could have talked about her marriage, her upcoming marriage with Juan. I feel like this season could have been Robyn's, but she could have talked about her upcoming marriage with Juan, the fraudulent marriage with Juan. She could have talked about the fraudulency that Juan was bringing to the table and we didn't hear about until her podcast episode and Watch What Happens Live after the finale. Could have talked about a lot of things in this season, but she decided to like be woefully ignorant the entire time until Karen brought up I heard Juan got somebody that looked like me walking around Georgetown being his side chick playing you, and Robyn pretended like everything that Karen was saying was a lie. I do believe the girl looking like Karen, I do believe Karen was just adding a little flair to that. But the fact that Robyn already knew that Juan had a side thing and was being duplicitous, and then we hear from Watch What Happens Live after Andy grilled her ass that there was a Canadian girl at a hotel feeling lonely or something. Juan came and bought her hotel. Like, Robyn, you think we're that dumb? Like, you really think we're that? It's either you're that dumb or you think we're that dumb. And I don't even like talking like this. I don't even like talking like this because I feel like I'm bashing people, but it's really that bad. And then saying, if y'all want to hear the rest of it, you're going to have to subscribe to my Patreon. Like, I personally feel like the first rule of business is don't fuck up your flagship. And your flagship is Potomac. No one knows you outside of Potomac. People know you because of Potomac. That is your bread and butter, we can assume, for your income. So why would you kind of like she kind of got too big for her britches with her podcast. And I probably, since Nikki was on the hosting one of the reunions last year, like, this could have been her season because she was starting to be activated, getting into drama, starting to stand up for things. Like, this could have been her season, but she did none of that. The wedding was and I'm not even like it's a low budget, high budget. It was low budget. It was on the damn Eastern Shore of Maryland, and you got like 2 or 3 people, and it was the last 2-3 minutes of the show, and it just seemed very, very rushed. Seemed very rushed. It seemed very like, okay, let me hurry up, scrounge up something. And Juan is just playing her like that. And I'm also very like upset that Robyn is with a man like Juan. Like, Juan is obviously like using her ass. Obviously don't take her seriously. Like, he don't really truly give a fuck about Robyn. And like Gizelle, I didn't fuck with Robyn either because of the Monique thing. And we see now both Robyn and Gizelle have double standards and I'm about to get into that too with Mia, but when that altercation happened in Miami, we see Robyn goes as far to record Wendy and antagonize Wendy to do something to Mia, when all of a sudden, when with Monique, they were against violence. And we see their true color. And I always knew that was their true colors. I always knew they just doubled down on Monique because they didn't like her. They didn't fuck with her. Candiace has every reason not to fuck with Monique. Wendy, I feel like, was very fair and honest. Like, she doesn't know them like that, but she doesn't, condone that. Like, I feel like she was very fair. I feel like the way she said things was just very like fair. I feel like it wasn't on some like let's excommunicate Monique or anything like that. I just felt like she was just like, right is wrong, right is right, wrong is wrong. And she was a newcomer, so I'm really not holding anything against her with her judgment. I feel like that was her opinion. But the way Robyn and Gizelle did it was just like, we can't have this on this show. We can't do this on this show. We don't condone this. We can't do this. Our reputation is on the line. But you're antagonizing violence. You're antagonizing Wendy to go in and cause violence after you saw violence was just enacted upon her right there in front of you. You saw how everything went down. I don't fuck with Robyn. I don't fuck with Gizelle. Season 8, in terms of, and that's my personal, in terms of just being breaking shit down in terms of her future for Potomac with season 8. I want to see Robyn be real. She has a chance to make it up to viewers and be real, see how her marriage with Juan is going, how her family life is going. What is she actually up to? What is actually going on? We see Juan had that I don't think he committed sexual assault, but I think he was like privy to an assault that happened but did nothing and was kind of complicit in that way. Like, we want to see the real. And if you can't provide that, you can get the boot. Gizelle is more protected than you. She's more protected than you. If anything, the only protection you have is because you're an extension of Gizelle. But in terms of you stand alone, people want you out. People been want you out. You do nothing for the show. Anyways, moving forward, on to the Grand Dame. So with Karen, she didn't have a storyline either. I love Karen, but she didn't have a storyline really. Her main storyline was Charisse, this Karen versus Charisse saga and Karen's live show for that one episode. But really, this Karen versus Charisse saga, where every time Charisse entered a room, Karen would exit like the plague. Like, she would exit like Charisse. It was Charisse 19, COVID Charisse 19, Charisse COVID 19, COVID 19. You know what the hell I'm talking about. But what was crazy was, I feel like Charisse, it was given Karen was intimidated by Charisse because Charisse knew a lot about her. And it seems like every time Charisse was around, because Karen got so upset and so angry, it seemed like what Charisse had or known was actually true. And I feel like because of Karen's behavior, it kind of forced Charisse to slip out some stuff, like the blue eyes. And but that was season, like, was she mad at her because she talked about blue eyes? Was that in season 2 or 3? I feel like that was in season 2. Was she mad at that? It was like, I was confused why exactly Karen was upset with Charisse. You always left the room every time Charisse came, including during the finale. It was given Charisse seems like she might have some merit to what she was saying about you going around, fucking people in the bathrooms and fucking the workers and fucking somebody named Blue Eyes and you know, that's fine. That's fine. Go and fuck who you want. Own up to that. But it was just given, it was just like, Karen, what is going on now? Because like, she's obviously getting under your skin. So in terms of that, it just seems like Charisse was just there to incite something out of Karen, and Charisse wasn't even trying to. She was just like, the whole time, you know? So I just, Karen had no storyline. She had no storyline. I want to hear about Surrey County. I want to, not so much about your marriage, but I feel like before she had, Raven to talk about. She had her, the start of the businesses. Then she had the tax stuff with Ray. Then what, the Surrey County ambassadorship. Like, she had stuff to talk about in that regard. But now it's like nothing. And I don't think they're going to give Karen the boot anytime soon, because Karen helps make the show. And I must admit, along with Gizelle. So Karen has more protection. It's like, Karen, I want to hear about Surrey. I want to see what has happened with that. I want to see more. I'm tired of the candles. I'm so tired of the candles. I'm tired of the Ladam Empire. I want to hear something else. I want you to address all of these allegations against you with going about fucking or who knows what. I want to see how that's affected you and Ray, or what Ray thinks. I just want something. Now we have Wendy. Now, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt this season for multiple reasons. So, for one, for starters, she had this Nigerian lounge with Peter Thomas, and I thought that was going to be a fruitful storyline. That was a pretty cool idea to have and like pretty cool to watch, like a Nigerian lounge in Baltimore. I feel like she can make that work, and the first Nigerian lounge too. And there's a strong Nigerian population, particularly in PG County. So I feel like that would have been a very cool. And then having Peter Thomas from Atlanta, like that would have been a cool crossover type of thing. But we got 1 or 2 episodes of it, and that was it. We got you stressed out from your many, many jobs, from your many, many degrees, and I'm glad it seems like you're doing healthy. And I want Wendy to get better, but that was it. She talked about it a little bit, but that was it. The reasons why I gave her the benefit of the doubt, even though she didn't have consistent storylines, not a lot of productive storylines, because for one, I like Wendy for what she represents and for who she is and what she brings to the show. And I give her the benefit of the doubt because I feel like she was picked on the entire season. She was picked on by Gizelle. She was picked on by Robyn. She was picked on by Mia. I felt like she was picked on and ousted. And as she straddles the line, her allegiance is really to the Green Eye Bandits. So I feel like she wasn't really a full friend for Wendy. I feel like even Candiace saying none of these bitches are loyal. I feel like if I was Wendy, I would have felt away. Like, I feel like you two, especially as the brown skinned girls on the show, literally the only brown skinned girls on the show, have a certain friendship, not purely based off of that, but just a certain understanding and a certain genuine relationship y'all just naturally seem to have. It just seemed like Wendy was a loner in this season, and I can see that Wendy was trying her best to renew relationships and restore relationships with people. Even Gizelle, even Mia. I think with Robyn, she was completely done after not inviting her kids, and I don't blame her because I'm like, why aren't you inviting her kids? But you invited her. But Robyn invited Candiace to pick up the kids from Wendy's house to take the kids to an event their mother isn't in welcome to. Like with the podcast with Carlos, like what Wendy said, like it would have been made more sense if Robyn reached out to Eddie, Wendy's husband, and was just like, even though she has her qualms with Wendy, I still want the kids to come. Are you able to take the kids as their parent, their father? Can you take the kids? That would have been respectful. I agree with Wendy saying like she would have been cool with that. Like that would have been fine. But you go around both of them, the parents of the children, to go to Candiace, to go to Wendy's house, to pick up the kids to an event their mom isn't invited. So it was just all types of fucked up. Wendy getting a drink thrown in her, a purse thrown at her. And then on the other hand, then Mia trying to fuck them and then talking about Wendy's pussy. And then, Deborah, Ashley's friend, talking about Happy Eddie, saying that Eddie was also getting a little. And it was obviously unfounded. So I just feel like Wendy had a rough season in that regard. Like it was like they just all decided to pick on her. So that is the reason why I'm like giving Wendy the benefit of the doubt with that, because she went through a lot. And another reason is because, like I said, she brings something unique. And on that podcast interview with Carlos King, it's confusing. It might be confusing to people how she's a professor, but then doing these candles and then doing the Nigerian lounge. She's saying because as growing up as a Nigerian immigrant with a traditional Nigerian mom, and y'all know the traditional Nigerian culture where it's doctor, lawyer, engineer, and really doctor or lawyer. She said her upbringing was all about making her become a doctor, whether it be, regardless if it's medical doctor or not, just her getting her doctorate. So she was spending her life following the dreams of other people. She never got to really know herself. So now she's doing all these things, like being on a reality show as the first Nigerian American housewife in the show's history, doing the Home Essential line, trying to do a Nigerian lounge, trying to do, be a political commentator, being a professor, all these different things. She is still discovering herself. And as a multi-hyphenate, it seems like, especially from the interviews I've seen with Wendy and read with Wendy, like she's still trying to establish herself. Many people, especially in this society, they cannot take it, especially when a woman is doing multiple different things. A Black woman is doing all these different things. Wendy is not just one thing. So I want her in the next season to delve more into that, delve more into, she delved into her upbringing like season 5-ish, maybe 6-ish a little bit too. I want her to still delve more into that. I want her to explain like, I'm finding myself. I'm on a journey to finding myself, and this is what that looks like. And I want you to fuck off with Gizelle, fuck off with Robyn, fuck off with Mia. I want Wendy to really show these bitches the work. I do. Because little do they know, Wendy is pretty much the only one in the show giving this show culture. The culture that isn't based in being fair skinned or having a white husband. No shade to Candiace. Shade to Ashley, because that Michael is a disgusting man. Didn't I just name everybody else in it? Like, in the Nigerian community, they already going up for her, but they're going to continue to go up for her. Like I said, PG County in Maryland has a strong Nigerian population. DMV in general has a strong Nigerian population. Like, I feel like it made perfect sense to have Wendy on there, and especially having the sides of, the political perspective and aspect of things, just being in the DMV, obviously in DC, Northern Virginia, Pentagon Monument, White House, Congress, Supreme Court, all these things. So little do they know, Wendy best represents the DMV more than any of them. Literally more than any of them. So I need Wendy to let them niggas know. Let them know who she is. And outside of just, I have 4 degrees. Like, let's cut it real deep. Read them. Like, read them. Even though Wendy isn't my favorite, I'm rooting for her in that regard. I see how dynamic she is. Ugh. Last and least, Mia. Now, in terms of television, she is very entertaining. But as we have seen, especially season 6, she was very entertaining. But as we have seen, she is willing to do any and everything for TV. She is highly inconsistent, doesn't have loyalty unless you have complete blindness to her. She offers a fun element. She's definitely fun. But when she threw that drink at Wendy, I was completely turned off. You talking about Wendy? That's family. And I'm not going to have you disrespect family. Why are you capping for this nigga that don't give a fuck about you? And then we see she was swinging with Peter's girlfriend. I'm talking about, Peter. Her going after Wendy because Wendy didn't reach out to Peter before she went to Miami when they were doing business together. Like, what the fuck is it to you? And then Peter going to Mia talking about, I got beef with her. Stay out of women's business. Yeah, so it's you throwing drinks at Wendy for niggas. You're treating your best friend like shit. Best friend of 30 years, pretty much. You even go against Karen, who introduced you on the show. We can't trust you, and you're a very dislikable character. And that's where I'm going to talk about that also later. But you're very dislikable, unlikable, not unlikable, but dislikable. Is that a word? This season has let me know this woman is willing to do any and everything for whatever reason. And honestly, I was confused when she was brought on to the show. Like, she's entertaining TV. You can even say she even has a little Kenya Moore element. But why are you on this show? Like, it was just weird. It was just weird. And I can tell Mia just seems to be very much a clout chaser. Like, and I take it because I'm from the DMV. I don't like it when they have people that aren't indicative of the DMV. Like Karen, the Northern Virginia thing, or not Northern, but the Surrey County, Virginia thing. Okay, cute. Gizelle, everybody that's from here knows about Jamal Bryant. Sharice is actually from Potomac. Ashley Darby is from the DMV. I don't think she's representative of the DMV though. Same with Candiace. Same with Robyn. Like Love and Marriage DC, those are some bona fide from DC, from the DMV people on there. Like, you got DJ Quicksilver. But I think that's another problem with the show. Like, I just feel like this isn't what the DMV is. I feel like people still don't know like what flavor, what brand of this show is. Like Atlanta, you get Atlanta. Like, that's Atlanta. And I guess it's easier to give the flavor of Atlanta because it's Atlanta. Like, a lot of people don't film here. A lot of people really don't know the culture of DC, of Maryland, besides like monuments and shit and politics and shit. So it is hard to capture what it is, but I feel like the only way to do that is to get actual black people from here. And I think because they relied on who Sharice knows, I feel like maybe that's why it has this weird element of like, I don't really feel like I'm in Maryland sometimes, but it's the elite of Maryland. Maybe that's why. So yeah, but anyway, Mia, she's definitely going to be coming back for season 8, but I'm fine if she doesn't come back. I don't think she's not going to come back. I think she will be coming back because she seems to have a lot of like, her business seems to be shaky. I don't know the ownership of the business. She put out receipts recently about it, but I just don't know. I'm actually tired out about talking about Mia. Her character has been very disgusting, and she just seems very like without morals. So G is entertaining. He's a little creepy, but he's funny. Bless the kids. But outside of that, I really don't care for Mia. So like that's how many people that I say can get the boot. Gizelle, Robyn, Ashley if she don't tighten up. So the only people Karen, Wendy, and Candiace can I feel like can definitely stay, but they need to start doing a phasing out of people, to be honest. So with Jacqueline, she's okay. Like I feel like the whole time I feel like I didn't really get to know her outside of just being Mia's. I mean, I guess she is the friend of the housewives, but like I didn't get to know her outside of her crying and no like I'm not trying to be shady or being I'm not trying to be funny and saying that, but like I feel like I didn't get to know her outside of just crying and like Mia treating her like shit the whole time. So in my head, when I think of Jacqueline, I just think of tears. I just think of her saying how Mia is so fucked up. Like that's all I'm getting from her. So I mean, people seem to love her though. People seem to like her a lot. The housewives seem to like her. So maybe we'll see her back in the next season. But overall, in terms of the finale, it was definitely very underwhelming. It was very much like it could have been any other episode. The wedding at the end was rushed. Even the music video viewing was just like Gizelle and Chris didn't talk. Eddie didn't get to clear his name. Karen wasn't being direct with Sharice because she left. Like it was just a lot of loose ends and just a lot of like even the you know how the cards after during the last minutes of the finale they do like this is where they're at or this is what happened to them in the coming months and stuff. Like even all those updates and news were just very like it was like Karen blew a tissue the next day because she got kind of a sore throat but not really because she healed the next day. It was just very mediocre shit. Ashley went and got some chocolate ice cream next week because she liked ice cream. Like it was shit like that. Like, what is going on? Y'all don't have any business? Like, what is going on? What is going on? I thought this season was going to be brilliant. I thought it was going to be everything. I'm sitting there hyping it up. What is going on? The only thing exciting and consistent was the promo posters with with Candiace in the red. What is going on? Season 8, it will be telling. If they don't get their act together, they're going to lose their momentum. They're going to lose their place. They're going to lose their spot because we have shows. It seems like Real Housewives Miami. Now that they rebooted, it seems like they came back with fresh energy. I don't know too much about Beverly Hills or New Jersey. It seems like they're pretty much stale a little bit. I know they're trying to redo Roni, but Potomac, come on. Come on. Like, y'all were close to that spot of being the best one on the entire series, but season 8 will tell. It will say everything for me. So yeah, season 8 will be everything. I think the problem with Potomac is the fact that we're seeing the corniness in a lot of these people, the corniness that I've already seen. Where we're seeing corniness. We're seeing corniness. Mia's corny. Uh Robyn is corny. Gizelle is corny. Candiace was pretty corny a little bit, but she's cool now. Like Ashley is stale. That's the problem. You got corny. When you got corny, stale chips, what do you do with them? You throw them the fuck out. When you have corny, light skinned chips that are stale, you throw them out. And that is the problem with Potomac. If they don't give real, if they don't give genuine, if they stop and plug up their corny ways, and they keep it fresh. And that's another thing from the Carlos King podcast. Like, he also mentioned the fact that they don't stay in the moments. Like Atlanta was so funny because they stay. I haven't seen season 13 or 14, but Atlanta is so funny because they stay in moments. Like I'm having fun watching them. We're not having fun watching everybody because everybody's trying to tear each other down. Everybody's trying to take a spotlight. Everybody's trying to air out people's dirty drama. Everybody is trying to like get at each other. No one is just sitting in the moment and like just trying to be genuine. And so I guess for the most part, what Candiace is saying, like, yeah, all these bitches are fake. I would exclude Wendy, but yeah, like even Karen, like she's just shifty. Like we can tell, like Karen is inconsistent. She's shying away from the truth. Like y'all are going to have to face the truth this upcoming season. Time is up. I don't know how that was relevant, but time is up. Time is up. Time is up. Season 8 will be the determining factor. And then the colorism allegations, I mean, all their responses have been like, it's a very, Robyn and Gizelle completely dismiss it. But like Wendy's response, like, it's very nuanced. Candiace, I feel like, I think she said like something along the lines is like, yeah, I can see why. I wouldn't say these, like, I don't even think they know. They're not even at the intelligence or like consciousness to even know what they might do that might be colorist or enacting colorism. You know, kind of how like white people are racist, but they don't know how they're racist. They think racism is just you go out and try to put somebody on a stake or attack somebody or hang them or like no, it can be very nuanced, and it is very nuanced, especially now. It can be very covert. I'm just saying Giselle and Robyn seem to have problems with people that are darker than them outside of Charisse. Yeah. If they're going to replace anybody, say they're going to remove somebody. And I was also kind of upset when they put me. I'm like, another light skin? Like another? Like another one? Like another one? Like the DMV isn't chock full of light skinned people like that. Like if they remove people and bring some other people back, like I'm gonna need some color. I'm gonna need some like chocolate, melanin, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna need somebody that isn't light skinned. We're tired of seeing these very light ass people with green eyes. We're very tired of it. We're very tired of it. We're very tired of it. So, and I need them to address that. I need them to address that. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Great talking with y'all as usual. I appreciate any and everyone engaging with me. Once again, be sure to subscribe. Follow this podcast at It's Giving Podcast _ on Twitter. It's Giving Pod. I'm setting up a TikTok as we speak. The app for that, it's Giving Pod as well. ITS Giving POD. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. I will talk to y'all later. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Peace.